Electric vehicles, we know that, when it comes to the future, when it comes to having a greener sense of transport, we talk about Tesla a lot on the buzz. And when it comes to Tesla, when it comes to Nissan, Hummer, how Hummer is now investing or developing their first electric SUV. There's a lot of, investment going into electric transportation, all with the start of, the revolutionizing brand Tesla. But, how is the UK investing in the progression of this? How are people, investing in the growth of the electronic transportation market? So, what I'm going to be breaking down today is a lot of things around business tech entrepreneurship. I'm your host, Tim, on the buzz as usual. I'm with you in the afternoons, giving you that conversation that you need to talk about, that dose of, business tech or entrepreneurship you need, that midday buzz, and giving you a bit of a conversation to talk about with your partners, with your colleagues, with your clients during a work day, right? Now, if you want to stay tuned in, you can listen to us on our app. You can download our app. It's free. It's on the Play Store. It's also on Google Play. So download our app. Make sure you're tuned in. You don't really have to always be watching our videos live, but you can also watch us live on Facebook and YouTube if you want to. Now, I've got a story about how Nissan is investing £1 billion electric car gigafactory in Sunderland. And with this, there is, so much of progression in terms of logistics, accessibility to electric vehicles that everyone is hoping to, get out of. Stay tuned right here on the buzz. I'm your host, Tim. Again, like I said, I'll be breaking down this story, and then I'll be getting into a little more conversation about how Richard Branson, actually came to where he is today. We know he's broken the internet over the weekend. He's gone to space. He's basically the first billionaire to hit um the stratosphere. And when it comes to commercializing space travel, this is a milestone in human history, right? And yeah, I'm super impressed. I'm super excited to see where this takes people, how far Blue Origin will also go in terms of competing or revolutionizing the industry. And then you have SpaceX on a whole other league that is basically going to be shipping people to different planets. That's right. So I'm going to be running you through a couple of videos of who we are at Relaks Radio. That's RELAKS. And I'll be right back with you after this video. Good afternoon.
The valuations that you place on an asset are always behind you. It's always in hindsight.
That's right. This is the buzz, and we're tuned in now to break down a couple of conversations around business, tech, and entrepreneurship. I'm your host. I'm going to be with you all the way till 3 p.m. I hope you guys are having an amazing afternoon. Now, breaking down, the jobs that Sunderland is looking at getting in with this billion pound giga factory developed by Nissan, right? Now, there's about 1,600 jobs that are looking at being created here, and there's around 4,500 supply companies that are under an investment of £1 billion, right? Now, that's some amazing stats. That gives you a bit of scale. Now, why do these guys actually look at investing in Sunderland? Why here at all, right? So, stay with me as I break it down for you. Now, coming further into the numbers, more than 420 million pounds will be invested in building a new, a new gen all electric vehicle, right? Now, we know Nissan has had a flagship electric vehicle, that's the Leaf, and they come up with the second Leaf as well, the new model. But how far are these guys looking at going with the whole concept around transportation? Different vehicles. Now we know the electric vehicle market is coming to it's booming right now, straight up. So you got Jeff Bezos investing in Rivian. The that's the pickup truck. That's a pickup truck brand, basically, that will also eventually be distributing vehicles around in the states for Amazon. And you've got Tesla that's just killing it with all types of models. You've got the Model S, the Model 3, the Model X, and the Model Y. These cars are breaking limits. These cars are basically breaking the internet, even though they don't spend any money on advertising or marketing, because of the fact that Elon by himself is, for one, a genius in marketing. The second is because you have you have countries that eventually are going to be investing into electric vehicles or electric transport through incentives, tariffs, and they'll be encouraging a lot of this, right? We see this happening a lot in the EU. Now, in the EU, for one, there's so much of tariffs that are reduced, or incentives to invest in electric vehicles, because government is honestly mature and open-minded to know that the planet is what's important, and it's not a matter of money always. Now, by 2050, the earth will come to a point of a make it or break it point, right? If humankind will actually exist for another 100 years or not, strictly because of the way we are treating the planet. Now, this is this one way, but there's so many other ways in terms of manufacturing, industries, in terms of transportation, in terms of production. All these industries do provide a particular number of carbon into the atmosphere, or into the environment. If it is ruining the ocean, if it is cutting down trees, these are all ways of how people are currently mining. These are all ways in how people are kind of, I'd say, straight up ruining the environment, right? Now, the concern is not about how far earth will how well earth will sustain. Now, it's not about just the rising temperature for the next 20 or 30 years. It's about the next generation and the generation after that. It's our responsibility to wonder, where are we actually leaving this planet for them? In what state are we actually leaving are we leaving the planet for them at all, right? Now, to be to be precise, the EU is actually investing in incentives for people that invest in electric vehicles, so that way your loan prices or your interest rates might be relatively less when investing in electric vehicles. The second thing is things like the tokens that you pay on highways, for example. These are relatively less for electric vehicles, so that way people are more inclined to purchasing or investing in electric vehicles. Now, the third thing would be in the lines of parking. Now, who doesn't need to park a car, right? Now, if you have a vehicle, if you're going late for a meeting, if you're wherever you are going, if you're going to meet your friends, you're at one point of your trip, you're really not going to need to find a parking for your car, right? And regardless of how fancy your car is, regardless of how fancy the restaurant is, unless they have a valet, you need to find a car park. And, for that, you need to make sure that the slot is available when you get there, and you can pay for that ticket to make sure you don't get towed or you don't get fined, right? Now, for electric vehicles, again, the charges are relatively less for these. So, I'd say that's a cool concept here, because these are ways in how you reduce people's long-term investments. And these are little things that, leverage the benefits of the financial benefits, or convince a mass consumer market to invest in electric vehicles or a particular product. So, coming to the next story now, how logistics, reducing the price, increasing the long-term value, the performance, these are what, Tesla has been doing right throughout to, set a benchmark, I'd say a significantly respectable benchmark to start off with. And for them to come to a point where, they're basically, pushing 60 miles per hour in 2.6 seconds with their Model S. Now, and with these new updates, the updates is only around $3,000. But how amazing is, the fact that, these cars are actually pushing faster than almost, majority of Lamborghinis or, Porsches, right? So if you actually Google, or if you actually YouTube some races with Tesla Model S, the plate versions or something of that sort, you're definitely going to see so much. You're going to see so much of, competitions that people have run in terms of drag races or sprints with Teslas. And, these cars are actually, very competitive. Like, these cars can actually, zoom past, Teslas, or, when I talk about Lamborghinis, because those cars were the benchmark at one point. And for Tesla as a whole to come to a point where they are more valuable than Toyota, this is just, I'd say a milestone in human history again with what Elon Musk is doing here. Now, to break down, what Sharon Hodgson has said, this is the Labour MP for Washington and Sunderland West. To talk about what she said, talking about how the Nissan COO Ashwani Gupta is saying in terms of where they're looking at, investing, what they're looking at investing for the vehicles. Stay tuned right here on The Buzz. My name is Tim, and I'll be breaking the story down further for you right here on Relaks Radio. Good afternoon.
And it gives them something to look at, and it makes them laugh. It makes them laugh. So that's why I do it.
Oh, and it could be a really good pickup line as well. Ladies who ask, "Hey, excuse me, so why are you wearing something so colorful?" I mean, hey, you can always have something up on your sleeve. I mean, got me thinking. You want to stand out. Why do you want to stand out though so much, especially with these kind of shirts when you're riding? There must be a purpose behind it, right?
Well, when you say a purpose, Nick, what I do, I wear the shirts mainly because they're nice and bright, so they make me visible, especially if I'm riding on the road.
Okay. Yeah, that's very important, right? Because you want cars, yeah.
Very important. And also, like, people see me in like calves, and perhaps I shouldn't be saying this on here, I suppose, but in the bar afterwards.
All right.
And it gives them something to look at, and it makes them laugh. It makes them laugh. So that's why I do it.
Oh, and it could be a really good pickup line as well. Ladies who ask, "Hey, excuse me, so why are you wearing something so colorful?" I mean, hey, you can always have something up on your sleeve. I mean, you look like a guy who would do.
You know me too well. You know me too well, Nick. But now, if you say to a child, if I went up to a child and said, "You've had one to forget," God, there'd be an inquest. Me, why did you reject my son? Well, I haven't rejected your son.
I want to talk about, how the generation gap, how much it's changed, especially when you check the youth nowadays in comparison, to people back in the day.
I'd say when I was younger, it was more disciplined. Not now.
In comparison to now.
Not at all. Not now. The way things are nowadays, the younger generation, you seem that they can't accept the word no. If that makes sense. They can't
accept rejection, essentially, is all you're trying to say.
Yeah, they can't accept the word no. So if you how did I do? Or you didn't do very well, and they get upset. And when I was a youngster, my father used to say to me, because I used to be sport mad when I was very young, well, I still am sport mad, but like participating in different sports. And if I had a bad game, for example, my dad would say to me, "You had one to forget." That's it.
Your dad sounds like a smart guy. I mean, yeah, that's the real fact of the matter. Yeah.
He'd say to me, "You had one to forget. Get over it," and that was it. So I dust myself down and do it again. But now, if you say to a child, if I went up to a child and said, "You've had one to forget," God, there'd be an inquest. Me, why did you reject my son? Well, I haven't rejected your son. Or daughter. I've just told them that they need to buck their ideas up.
That's the truth right there. I mean, if you think about it, if you check the generations, like right now in the US as well, I've seen a lot of these things as well. In the UK, you get medals for participation. But what's the point? What are you trying to? Yeah, what's the point? Either you win or you lose. People are so afraid to put that whole notion of losing. When it comes to right now, the generation gap is just crazy. How much a lot has changed. Social media has taken control of our lives, and we don't even realize it anymore. We're crippled because of it.
That's absolutely right, Nick. Because, as you said, nowadays it seems that you get rewarded for failure. For the life of me, Nick, I can't get my head around that. Perhaps I'm just getting old and morbid. I don't know. I just can't get my head around how you could be rewarded for failure. it gives them something to look at, and it makes them laugh. It makes them laugh. So that's why I do it.
Oh, and it could be a really good pickup line as well. Ladies who ask, "Hey, excuse me, so why are you wearing something so colorful?" I mean, hey, you can always have something up on your sleeve. I mean, got me thinking. You want to stand out. Why do you want to stand out though so much, especially with these kind of shirts when you're riding? There must be a purpose behind it, right?
Well, when you say a purpose, Nick, what I do, I wear the shirts, mainly because they're nice and bright, so they make me visible, especially if I'm riding on the road.
Okay. But yeah, that's very important, right? Because you want cars, yeah.
Very important. And also, like, people see me in like calves, and perhaps I shouldn't be saying this on air, I suppose, but in the bar afterwards.
All right.
And it gives them something to look at, and it makes them laugh. It makes them laugh. So that's why I do it.
Oh, and it could be a really good pickup line as well. Ladies who ask, "Hey, excuse me, so why are you wearing something so colorful?" I mean, hey, you can always have something up on your sleeve. I mean, you look like a guy who would do.
You know me too well. You know me too